as a fee-only financial advisor for over 20 years, I think one of the main reasons that people don't retire early, even when they can, is just because of the magnitude of the decision. It's a big decision. It comes with a lot of uncertainty. And so in today's video, I'm going to share with you some ideas, some things that you can think about to take away some of that uncertainty, and also maybe to decrease the one-way decision, the magnitude of the decision, I can't go back on the decision type of aspects. And I think this is a super important topic, because I would say, even though many of my clients would not say this is the reason that they hesitate to retire early, as somebody that's guided hundreds of people into retirement, I think if it's not the number one reason, it could be one of the top 3 reasons. So let's go for a walk and talk about this. So I heard an interview with Jeff Bezos the other day, who is the founder of Amazon. And Jeff talks about, for his organization, these one-way decisions. He talks about some decisions you're going through a one-way door, and other decisions are a two-way door, that you can undo these decisions if you made the wrong decision. And Jeff's talking about from a business standpoint, but I like that framework. I like that analogy for all of us. You know, is this a one-way door that we're going through, or is this a two-way door? And for some of you, it may be a two-way door. If you've started a company, if you're part of the executive team, if you say, you know what, I want to try out retirement, I think you have the option to do that. Many of you know I live outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. It's a location where the headquarters of the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ is. And, you know, there's a fair number of people in Salt Lake City that later in their life do another mission as an adult. And they leave their current job. I think it's for 3 years. I'm not LDS, but I have many friends that are. And they can leave their jobs for 3 years and still come back to that job. And I think that just illustrates that, you know, some of us could leave our job for a year or two, and if we find out that we don't like it, we can leave the door open. So anything that we can do to change the framing of this from a one-way door, once I make this decision, I can't change my mind, I can't come back. Boy, it makes it a lot easier to say, you know what, I've worked hard, I've made a lot of sacrifices in my life, and I want to try this early retirement. And if it doesn't work, I can come back. You know, anything we can do to create that situation for ourselves. And like I said, I don't think a lot of us can do that, but I do think some of us can do that, as is demonstrated by my friends that do a mission when they're 50, 55 years old, and they can still come back to their previous job. So that's the first thing. The next one, I think this is really important, is having as much clarity as you can in your plan. You know, there's a lot of YouTubers that'll say, oh, you don't need a financial advisor, you can do this on your own. And you know what? You can do it on your own. But even if you have all the right tools at your disposal, you have the right software, you have all the same tools. Let's say you buy the exact same software that a professional financial advisor uses. You know what we all lack is we all lack the wisdom that comes from having helped hundreds of families through the early retirement decision, through the do I have enough money decision. And wisdom means a lot in financial planning. So it's not just what does the software say, but who are you, and you know, what makes you tick, and what things are going to keep you up at night, and what's your relationship with your spouse. All of those factors are important in the when should I retire decision. And you certainly don't want to forget about a certain aspect, a certain dimension of your retirement plan and find out later that, oh, you know what, I forgot to include this or that in it. So A, you want to make sure that it is comprehensive, that it does cover everything. But then you also want, you know, there can be two people in a very similar situation. the same financial numbers, the same expense numbers, but one of those people should retire early and maybe the other one should not. And again, that comes with wisdom, and I don't want to see you rely on using free software, using even professional software. I want you to take advantage of the wisdom that comes with somebody that's done this for a long time. Now, admittedly, I'm biased, but you know, it doesn't have to be really expensive to use a fee-only financial advisor. You can hire somebody and say, help me answer this question. Let's go through the plan. You help me come up with a great decision. So they're kind of a river guide with you, having helped other people with this exact question, having helped other people many, many times in the past figure out what's right for them. So you've got the wisdom that comes with that. You've got the, you know, making sure that you're not missing anything. And I'll give you an example. Healthcare costs. You know, none of us know what healthcare costs is, but if I were to ask you after the age of 65, how much should you, once you're on Medicare, how much should you budget for the rest of your life for healthcare? I think few of us would say $150,000 per person outside of long-term care. That's just, you know, co-pays and things that Medicare doesn't pay for. And this isn't my guesstimate on how much it's going to cost. This is Fidelity did a study. In the average 65-year-old, the average couple is going to spend over $300,000 after 65, after Medicare, for things that Medicare doesn't cover during their lifetime. And that doesn't include long-term care. Now, what would you guess that the likelihood of needing long-term care is in your lifetime? You know, if you've made it to 65, it sounds crazy, but the likelihood of needing long-term care is over 60%. Over half of us are going to need long-term care. So that's something else that we have to budget for. So you don't want to make assumptions on your own. Now, again, I'm biased. I get that, but you know, have somebody alongside you early on. And here's another one that is really going to move the needle for you for your success in making this retirement decision. And that is, what is your asset allocation? You know, what percent of your portfolio is going to be in stocks and going to be in bonds? And I would say 80% plus of your investment success comes from that one decision. What is your asset allocation? And you can come up with that on your own. Frankly, for me and for my family and for my needs, again, I'm biased, but you know, I'm going to work with, even though I'm a professional and I've been in the industry, I want a second opinion on that. So when it comes time for me to retire, I'm going to be hiring a fee-only financial advisor and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I want you to get to know me, and let's talk about what my asset allocation should be, because it's that important. You never want to be what I call a forced seller in a down market. And when that happens for most people, my age, if you're watching this video, your age or older, when that happens for most people is not that, you know, there's this car that they just want to buy and the market is down. You know, many of us would say this isn't the year to buy a new car, maybe. So we're not a forced seller to buy things for purchases that we can put off, but we do become forced sellers because we get afraid. Our heart, our mind, we can't sleep at night when the market's down 20, 30, 40%. And so getting that asset allocation right is super important. And I think it's also super important that you think about, what are the things, what are you giving up by not retiring? What's the cost? Yes, you might be making good money. You probably are making good money after working a lifetime, and you enjoy your job. You hopefully enjoy the people that you're working with, and you'd say, well, I can do it all. Well, maybe you can do it all, but what's the price? You know, the price is, at 60 years old, you likely have less than 1,000 weeks remaining of healthy, active time in front of you. I wish I wish we all had 2,000 weeks of healthy active time, 4,000 weeks of healthy active time in front of us. But the reality is, you know, we have fewer and fewer weeks with each passing year. And so what we're giving up, what we're gaining might be dollars that we're never going to spend. It might be dollars that our kids are never going to need. They're going to do fine. You know, you've done a good job raising your kids, and they're going to make a life for themselves and take care of themselves. So what do we need this additional money for? Yes, it's nice, but what are we giving up in order to get that? I would argue potentially we're giving up everything. We're giving up a lot. We're giving up that which matters, which is the healthiest and most active weeks, years of our life, in order to gain something that may not matter, which is making additional money. And, you know, frankly, for a lot of us, the reason we don't retire early is just our identities are tied into our job. We've been doing it for so long that we can't imagine, you know, who are we if we don't wake up 5 days a week and go into work? But you know what? Once you make that transition, you're going to love life on the other side. Now, not everybody does, but I suspect if you're watching videos like this, you're going to be like the 90% of my clients that look back and say, I wish I had done that earlier. And if you want more on this topic, I encourage you to watch this video here, which talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. These are the things that I think you're giving up in order to keep working. So watch this video here. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in there. Bye-bye.